Hey guys, my name's Ashley. I'm 24. I'm a hairstylist and I'm also a healer. I don't really ever talk about that too much because I'm still healing too, but it's what I am, it's what I do. I'm an advanced theta healer. I do offer sessions, however, I'll link that below, the information for that, but I don't really sell. I just kind of wanted to talk about some experiences. I also want to talk about, in this video, unconditional love and what it means to me. It's really super simple, and it took me a while to really get to this space to believe this, and I've done a lot of internal work and work to get to this space. But to me, unconditional love is exactly what it means. It's unconditional, which is a really hard concept for humans to grasp. I think we can learn a lot from animals, and if you have pets, you'll understand what unconditional love feels like. You might not understand how to give it, but you'll understand what it feels like to receive it. You get mad at your pet, or, perfect example, if you don't want to play with your dog, they might get a little sad, but they don't take it to heart. They still love you afterwards. They go and play by themselves and they entertain themselves and they're like, this is great, I love my life. And then when you're ready, they're right there. Dogs are perfect. They know exactly how to live. That sounds funny, but they do. So unconditional love means that understanding people are going through life too. They have free will, they have a soul, they have a personality, they have beliefs, and they have a physical body. So they are living a completely different experience than you are at all times. You might be able to feel similar things, and you'll have very close feelings, you'll have the same kinds of feelings, but you'll experience everything totally different. If you have two families and the parents get divorced, it's going to hit each child differently because of choices. Everybody has choices. That's free will too. So everybody makes their own choices, and it's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with where they're going, what they're here for, and what they want. So you have choices in everything. And every person is always one choice away from having a completely different experience. So if you're in a relationship, our relationships are the closest mirror to us that our family was, that our parents were. So when you get really, really close to somebody like that and you become intimately connected with somebody else, especially an opposite energy of you, we all have masculine and feminine energies within ourselves, but when it's a woman with a man or a man with a woman, it's going to get really close, and it's going to be an opposite mirror. And the idea is that this relationship, when they get that close, and your beliefs and your pasts and your traumas, they kind of start rubbing up against each other in an opposite way, can either become toxic and destructive, or hopefully can be a container for healing yourself and help and be there for and contain space, hold space for somebody else's healing too, while healing yourself. And hopefully, and this is where that container should come in, that other person can hold space for you too in your healing. So when we're healing, everything's a choice. And in unconditional love, you have to understand that that person, along with yourself and everybody else around you, your friends, your family, they're living a different experience too. They have choices too. And so you have to be really secure while practicing unconditional love. You have to understand that because that person has a soul and that they have free will and that they make their own choices, that maybe I won't be in their life forever, or maybe they won't be in my life forever. So unconditional love means that you don't own anyone. So you don't control anyone either. You can control yourself, but that's it. You can control your choices and what you want, but that's it. Nobody else. And that can suck sometimes if you learned that, you know, control was everything, or that you needed control over something. You can never control a person. So I wouldn't really be expecting that anymore. So unconditionally loving people means not expecting them to be there forever. And it also means not expecting them to be you. Nobody can be you. That's why you're here, is to be you, because nobody else can be that. So you have to be that, whatever that means. So unconditionally loving people means that you don't expect anything from them, mentally, emotionally, or physically. However, when you're unconditionally loving yourself, that means you understand that you are human. You accept that about yourself, so you have standards. Standards are different than expectations. Standards means I unconditionally love myself enough to know that this doesn't feel good, and I need to take myself out of it and hold space for something else that can come along and make that better, or help heal that. It means that if you're hurting me constantly, I need to step away. Doesn't mean I wish anything bad upon you. Doesn't mean I hate you. Doesn't mean any of that. It means I unconditionally love myself to say, I don't like this. I'm going to step out and hold space for something else that's going to be better. But good luck. And, you know, I get that you're just living your experience, and maybe you didn't understand why you're doing the things that you were to me. And for that, I can't enable this anymore, and you're going to have to just kind of, you know, you're going to have to heal in another space. I'm not responsible for that. So that can be hard to balance that when you're trying to practice unconditional love with other people and yourself too. Doesn't mean that you have to cling on to something. It means that you have to be really secure with yourself to say, this doesn't serve me. And if it means being alone again and sitting in a space where I'm feeling kind of like shitty or lonely or whatever the case is, it's better to have peace alone than it is to continuously enable somebody to put you in a painful space. And that can be family too. This can get convoluted because people feel like blood is your family, like it's thicker than water. You should do anything for your family. But family can be really toxic too. And I don't think that's really a topic that we talk about because it's not pretty. It's the other part of healing. It's not beautiful. I know parts of my family like to just ignore things and act like they don't really happen, but they do. And it's okay. It's okay that they do. I don't blame anybody. I used to, but I don't anymore. I don't judge them. I understand that they were just living with the beliefs and the actions that they thought were best, and that was what they were given and that's what they chose, and it had nothing to do with me. And it had everything to do with them. So I don't judge for that. I accept it. I don't think anything other than that just was what it was. It wasn't wrong, it wasn't right, it just is. So family can be really toxic too. So sometimes we have to set those boundaries with our family too. Just because they're family, it doesn't mean that you don't have the free will and the choice to say, I need to stop this because it's not serving me. That's okay. I'm here to tell you that that's okay. Because unconditionally loving family too means I accept your limitations toward loving me. I understand that you can't give me things that I need, and that maybe I just can't go to you for that, but I still wish you the best. I still unconditionally love you, and I'll still, you know, give you love where I can, and I'll still receive and accept and understand that, you know, where you're loving me, I can accept that. But you have to set those boundaries with yourself and with other people. So that's balancing unconditional love. It means that I accept you for who you are. I accept your shadows. I accept your light. And I accept that you're a human being living an experience. And I can't really change that. It's not my responsibility to take care of the perspective that you have of me, and it's also not my responsibility to heal you. I will hold space, and I would if you want it, but it's not my responsibility, so I'm not gonna project that onto somebody else. It's just not healthy. So unconditionally loving people, it's a practice, and it's not perfect, and you don't get it right all the time, but I don't ever wish anything bad on anybody, because I know that that comes back to me, and I know that if I'm doing that towards somebody else, then there's somewhere where I'm not connected to myself, and there's somewhere where I'm lacking loving myself. If I can't have compassion for another human being, I obviously don't have enough compassion for myself. If I can't forgive another human being, I obviously have not forgiven myself. If I can't see through somebody's shadows and say, that's just a person in a trauma response and they're feeling pain right now, then I can't do that for myself. One of the best things to do for yourself for healing is to talk to yourself, but we don't ever talk about that. It's super important to talk to yourself. I have 2 therapists, too. One is a spiritual practitioner. He's a man, and the other one is a man too, and he's my physical, like, world therapist. He helps me with my day-to-day things, my childhood traumas, all that stuff. He helps. When I talk to him, it's like looking in a mirror of me, like 40 years from now, as a man. It's really, really cool. These 2 men in my life help show me that that is possible, that there are great men out there who are emotionally available, can hold space for somebody who's healing, and are stable enough within all parts of themselves that they can accept other people and not project, put blame, or judgment on somebody else. They literally just hold space. And what holding space means is that I understand the soul just wants to be witnessed. That means I'm not going to offer you advice if you don't want it. If you ask me for it, I'll give you my experience and what helped me, but I will not tell you what to do, because I can't tell you what to do. Even if you want me to tell you what to do, would you do it? Probably not. You need to experience it and learn it for yourself. That's how we learn lessons. That's how we experience things. That's what we come here to do. We learn lessons. So I'm not going to give you advice. I'm just going to sit there and hold space for you and say, oh my God, that must really hurt. You know, that sucks, and I'm here for you, whatever you need. But I also like to ask questions. That's something you can do. You can ask questions that make people think, get them into themselves. Like my therapist, my physical world therapist, asked me the other day, because the holidays are kind of uncomfortable for me. it puts me in a space where I'm highly emotionally sensitive and I'm around people who are emotionally not aware. So it's a lot for me to deal with. And it's a reminder. So I don't love it. We were talking about this, and he asked me, how I'm feeling. I'm really great at saying this is how I'm feeling. I feel like I don't exist, or neglected, or whatever the case is. Those are all valid feelings. Just because it's coming up from something in the past doesn't mean I'm not experiencing it. It's a real experience. So he says, if you were to take your emotional self, the person that feels like that, take it outside of yourself and create another person with it. And like if you were in the car and that person was riding next to you, coming to your family event, and they felt uncomfortable and you knew that, what would you do for them? And I said, well, I would talk to them, make them feel comfortable, make sure that they felt like they were being engaged and talked to and felt like they existed. And I said, but I don't really know how to do that for myself. I don't really know what that looks like. And he said, yeah, that's where it becomes hard when we're healing, is how do we do that for ourselves? Then he said, do you talk to yourself? And I said, yeah, I really do. A lot. All the time. I'm always daydreaming. I'm always talking to myself. I'm always thinking. And it's not an overthinking kind of thinking. It's a philosophical thinking. It's an awareness kind of thinking. I'm so enthralled and very connected with myself and my internal world that I'm seeing and experiencing everything in a very, really cool way. My imagination is going all the time. I also live in a constant theta brainwave state. That is where all of your memories and your dreams and your subconscious mind is held. I'm very conscious in my subconscious mind. I listen to myself. I listen to my thoughts. I observe them. I don't judge them. So I said, yeah, I talk to myself all the time. And he's like, well, that's probably one of the best things we can do to heal ourselves. And he's like, there's a stigma about talking to yourself. Oh, you're crazy if you talk to yourself. But he said it's one of the best things you can do to heal yourself. Because we have to have conversations with ourselves. Every part of ourselves. Our emotions, our body, our mental state. We have to have conversations with ourselves. Without judgment. I kind of look at it sometimes as like a child talking to a parent. Because I have an inner child. And sometimes it looks like childish and funny and weird and whatever, but I don't judge them. I'm like, oh, that was there. So talk to yourself. Just a small piece of what unconditionally loving others and myself looks like to me. I'm probably going to try and do these like every Wednesday as like a Words of Wisdom Wednesday kind of thing, where I'm just giving you my experiences and sharing stories. If you liked it, please, it really helped me out if you gave it a like or maybe even subscribed. If you just like listening to me talk, you just like watching me talk, whatever floats your boat, give it a like and subscribe too. That would be awesome. I'm also going to be linking my Instagram down below if you want to give that a follow. Otherwise, I'll catch up with you next week, and we'll just I'm gonna really do it down to earth. I kind of tell stories all over the place, so I feel like that's just gonna be how I do it. So bear with me, but thanks.